I need to get my talking points up. Hey, look alive! We're here! We're here! Look alive! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hang on, I think you're muted. Talk again for me. One more
Oh,
time.
do you have me muted that whole time?
No.
Woo, baby!
There
Let's
it
go.
is. The Ric Flair.
Yep.
I'm here live from my workplace because my schedule over the next 3 days is shit. So we're doing it as we go. And yeah.
Let's go.
Thank you,
know,
for.
you,
Go
you
ahead.
just gotta, flash off to the people a little bit. I'm here at Whiskey Vault Wizard Academy. Like,
Yeah, don't say that. I'm undercover at the moment, right? I'm mooching the internet. I'm mooching the electricity. They're not supposed to be knowing this stuff. So this is a covert operation, everybody.
no one needs to let him know. Rex, if you're watching, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's not. Dude, so
So,
you told me
what's up, buddy?
you told me that we have a very stacked week.
Yeah, these last 2 weeks have had a couple very big like releases from some like classic bands, some of the OGs of their genres respectively, and they've all put out some pretty badass new music considering some of these bands have literally been around for, like 30 plus years now. So
Yeah. I mean, I noticed the first one is Dark Throne, so I'm super stoked
exactly.
about that. But more importantly, how have you been over the past 2 weeks?
Dude, it's been pretty good. Had a wild weekend. It was pretty much just like a nonstop party from Friday through Sunday night. Like,
Good, man.
just lived it up both for my birthday and America's birthday, baby. Woo woo! So,
Naturalized Canadian, my friend. Yes, good stuff. I saw your glitter beard. Yeah,
that
was
was
pretty good.
awesome. My friends Miranda and Ashley were like, we should do glitter beards for 4th of July. And I'm just like, you know what? YOLO, never done glitter beard before. Let's see how this goes. It's great.
It's a whole
But
thing.
it got fucking everywhere.
It's a whole thing, dude. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you had fun, man. I'm glad you
Yeah,
had
dude.
fun.
Hope it was the same for you.
Yeah. I took the girlfriend down to the hometown, and that was pretty good. Just hung out with the fam, played a lot of card
Excellent.
games. Just
Hell yeah.
super casual and domestic, but also pretty fun. So
That's what's up, dude. That's what's up. That's
Yeah,
good to
dude.
hear, buddy.
that said, I've got some weird stuff for you, and it's
All
just the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae that is your good releases. So
Excellent.
let's take
I'm
a couple
excited.
bites. Let's take a couple bites
right.
first. Dark Throne.
So, for those who don't know, these are one of the most legendary groups of the underground metal scene. Dark Throw was one of the early adopters of the black metal style, and I think like their first couple of albums, Blaze in the Northern Sky, Transylvanian Hunger, those really kind of like helped create the soundscape and the like overall stylings that you'll see with black metal. I mean, obviously, Euronymous from Mayhem was the one who really kicked off the second wave of black metal. But Dark Throne were there from the get-go, and I think they are very influential on it. And what's great about these guys is that they just never stop making music, because it's just two dudes. It's just Fenris and Nocturno Culto, who just tag team Dark Throne. They don't ever do like live performances or anything like that. They just do the music. So this is their 19th album.
Wow.
Yeah.
19.
Eternal Hails, 19th.
Good Lord. Okay,
Yep.
so I knew that they've been around for a minute.
Mhm.
If I mean, I know you're familiar with this, but I don't know how often you listen. The last podcast on the left did a fantastic multi-part series on the Norwegian black metal scene of the 90s.
Really?
Yeah. Because it involved a bunch of church burnings
yeah.
and murders and stuff, so it got their attention.
Yeah.
Right?
On
So-
my drive home, I was literally listening to episode 3 of The Black Death.
Right.
So
So-
I love those guys, but I didn't know they did a black metal episode.
This was a couple years back, but it's pretty crazy. They cover who was it? Varg Vikernes, his murder, right? Yeah, that whole thing. But they talk a lot about Fenris, and just because they're in that scene, right? That said, Dark Throne I know is iconic because of their album design for Transylvanian Hunger. They basically invented the black metal meme. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at that same time, I didn't realize how prolific they were.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I mean, it goes back to our thing. You got two guys in a band, you can do basically whatever you want.
Yeah.
So
And that's one thing that I love about them is that like Dark Throne, they've always been a band that's kind of like rebelled against the like mainstream culture and the way that music is. They've always been very much one of those people that believes that like a lot of modern music and even what was modern back in the 90s was too like plasticky sounding and overproduced. And
Right.
they were definitely one of those bands that liked just pushing the raw sound. And that's something they've always kept around. But even now it feels they kind of just do whatever the hell they want and don't care like even like expectations for what people want, because like their last couple albums, yeah, like Arctic Thunder was definitely more black metal forward, but a lot of their later releases in like the end of the 2000s and early 2010s were very more like rock and roll thrash metal albums, like just, you know, kind of like they even had a song like The Grave of the 80s and like, you know, like shit like that. And like you know, it's very much they just do whatever they want. And that's what I definitely got with this album too, because there is the black metal influence, and you hear it like on the song we're going to listen to, His Master's Voice. You hear the beginning, it definitely sounds kind of like a 90s black metal-y type thing, but then it really kind of towards the end goes off into a more like doomy direction. Like they're very more like rock and roll forward. It almost sounds like black metal tinged rock and roll in the beginning, and then it goes into a very doomy direction. And throughout this album, they really treaded kind of heavily into like the doom direction.
Right.
5 songs, 41 minutes long. They really let those songs breathe and get in that kind of like atmospheric feel.
Yeah.
And this is really almost like a blackened Black Sabbath album. So it's pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay, you had my interest, but now you have my attention. Here we go. Okay, I need to throw something at you, and
right.
I want to see how you react here. This sounds. Who does this sound like? This sounds almost like Fu Manchu. This is more. This is more garage sounding than I expected it to be. Go ahead.
That's an interesting comparison, but what was literally just in my head again as we were listening to this, I finally figured out what that intro riff before it got into the slower part. That main riff, I kind of figured out what it sounded like to me.
What's that?
Blackened Motorhead.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I could kind of see it. See it. Hang on.
Go back and listen to it a little bit.
Especially this.
Yes, that's what I mean. This part here.
Especially this. Yes.
Yeah. And even the vocals sound like a harsher Lemmy.
Yeah. Definitely. That is an interesting sort of thing that's happening there, because again, you have a pioneer of a certain genre, and it's almost like they're absorbing like Kirby style other genres and kind of like doing their own thing to it. It's weird. But do you get what I'm saying about the intentional garage sound, right?
Definitely.
These guys clearly know what they're doing, but they're going for that sort of, we recorded this in a basement.
Yeah. And that, you know, granted, that has always been the idea behind black metal, even in the early days. They always wanted that really, really raw sound, because especially in the early days of black metal, it was an extreme counterculture movement.
Right.
And like I
Right.
said, they wanted to get away from the heavily overproduced sound. So like, I mean, if you go back and throw on Transylvanian Hunger, it's going to sound even worse, like worse recording wise than this, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's kind of what they go for.
Right.
But they make it sound good in how raw it sounds.
Right. Yeah, it's just more
Hmm.
groovy than I expected it to be. That's cool, man.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
is this the same for the entire album for Dark Throne?
There's a lot, so there's also like pretty doomy parts too. If you skip towards kind of the end of the song, now this is the full album, so just
Let's
skip towards the end of his
go
master's voice.
6:30. Yeah.
Yeah, they get into some of the definitely more doomy shit. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I've never really been a big black metal guy. I'm gonna be
yeah,
honest. It's not a genre that I've ever
yeah,
felt the need to like sit down and listen to,
yeah.
do anything and listen to. It's like, but I have always kind of appreciated it as a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the Beatles, right? I
Yeah,
get their influence, but I
yeah.
never choose to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
This, on the other hand, this is sick. So
Mm-hmm.
either I'm
Yeah.
being converted or this is radically different. I don't know.
I think a little bit of column A, a little column B, because I'll say from my own experience, it was really hard for me to get into the original black metal bands at first. I thought it was garbage. Like, because some of my buddies, they were big into like Burtzum and Dark Throne
Oh
and
yeah.
Mayhem, and they tried showing me stuff, and at first I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I always liked the like black metal influence bands like Cradle of Filth. I loved Demi Borgir,
Right.
huge on them, even though they started as very traditional black metal. And I think part of it was just, it was hard to get through the initial, it sounds bad on purpose, because like the heavily produced black metal of the like more recent years I could dig, but
Right.
like the first time I heard Varg, I was like, this dude is choking a parrot into a microphone. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
So
but you can't
yeah,
trust anything that Varg does. I mean, come on.
yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, Varg Vikernes is a terrible person, but you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, I mean, we all learned something from Varg.
Yep.
So I'm gonna test something real quick. Give me 2
All right,
seconds.
terrible person. You got it, bud.
Okay, I think we're
Yeah.
good. We're good.
Awesome.
All right,
But yes,
so
so this is good. Out on Peaceville Records, 19th album. Check you out some Dark Throne.
19th album. That's
I
just
know,
crazy,
right?
dude. All right, so yeah, Dark Throne. If you don't know him, you should.
Yeah.
Next up, this is a band I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But I'm always a fan of V's being used for use.
Right.
You know, shameless shout out,
Yeah.
Rafe Holmes and Insurgents, you know, the boys.
Mhm.
And also the cult memes, you know.
Yep, true cult. But no, so it's I'm surprised you haven't heard Pestilence before. I mean,
No.
they're definitely on the more underground side, but they are one of the OGs of death metal. Like, they started in the 80s,
Okay.
and they're known as one of the like big four of progressive death metal. Them, Death, Cynic, and Atheist are known as like the four.
Well, I
big-
know. Yeah, that's the weird part
Mhm.
is because I've heard of the other three of those.
Yeah.
So,
So Pestilence kind of falls in that category. So you know, they went on hiatus a couple times, broke up, whatever, caught back, but they're now back now with their 9th studio album, Exitum. And their main man, Patrick Mamelli, who is the guitarist and vocalist of the band, came back with a whole fresh lineup and recorded this new album, and it is a banger.
okay.
This was one that I just saw, and I was like, oh, sweet, there's some new Pestilence. And this one took me a little by surprise, because it was, you know, for being like one of the like progressive death metal bands,
Right.
this was a very straightforward, more death metal record. Like, it didn't feel like it was too like overly jazzy or proggy. Like, those influences are definitely still there, being, you know, written by Patrick and everything.
Right.
But this just like gets a lot more to the point, and like some of these songs made me think a lot more of like early Morbid Angel, and like, you know, like some of the more like traditional beginning death metal stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I also just love the out of context clip that you just threw out there, and that's why I was laughing about it, is because you're just like, oh, hey, new Pestilence. Nice.
oh yeah. Right.
But
a new Pestilence.
that
What
said-
do you know?
That said, I'm going into this completely blind. Like, I've never heard Pestilence before.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I've never heard Pestilence before. So it'll be cool to see this as a mature band, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
And it lives up to it pretty well. It's got pretty much everything you need. It's got the heavy riffs. You got some good machine gunning double bass. You've got brutal vocals. You got what you need.
Nice.
So
here we go.
Let's spin us some pestilence.
Yes.
Sempiternus.
Sempiternus. Yes. Took me a second. I don't read Latin,
Yeah. This is just a good ass riff.
They're tight.
Yeah.
They're tight, but they don't sound like it. And that's a weird point. That's something that I've been picking up more and more as we do this show specifically, and like metal in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like super musicality without the sort of self-aggrandizement aspect of it, like whenever you hear like a math rock band, all right, and this is hard to explain, but whenever you hear a math rock band, it's like very clear that they're showing off their licks. It's very clear that they're showing off their sort of musical alchemy, that the fact that they understand what they're doing. Wow. It's like kind of the same with like fusion jazz, but this is like, we know what we're doing, but we're gonna make it sound like it's just natural. Like my guitar is melting and I know exactly how to make this sound happen, but it's like, and you listen to the extreme double bass in the background and it's melding like perfectly, but it doesn't sound like it's four guys that clearly know what they're doing,
Like, it's like, this could be like some dudes that are just jamming out and having a good time, but yet it's also like very technically precise at the same time.
Right there. It's crazy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yes. That's cool, man. Yeah.
And another fun fact, and it makes it even more interesting considering, atheist death cynic, Florida death metal.
Right.
These guys from the fucking Netherlands, yet somehow, they've always stayed in the conversation like that. Especially considering the 90s.
Yeah. Also, top comment to your comment earlier. It makes me think of Morbid Angel, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
It very much has a like where the slime live feel, where you're just like, just
dude. My guitar is melting, and I need it. Like, it's that. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and I love there's some of that like haunting orchestra stuff in the background that sounds very fucking 90s death metal, but then there's also the weird chords on top of it that kind of bring in that like bit of jazzy progressive touches. So like it I don't know,
it shouldn't make sense, but it does, kind of thing. No, it's interesting, man. But I mean, I can tell that it's like, and again, this is a weird comment, but it's geared towards people who are already sort of like indoctrinated. I don't think that you could show this to somebody who is new to metal and them get it. But if you're at all like, I know that I like the genre. This is like sick, Pestilence, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Excellent.
I can't believe I've gone my entire life without knowing this band. Like,
I mean, it's, they're not, your Cannibal Corpse or, like your Megadeth, so like, they're not one of the bigger, like, band names out there. So like, I'm kind of, it's one of those things where it's like, you got to be slightly in the know with them, but when you're in the know in the scene, you know the name Pestilence.
Yeah. That makes sense. Now, on the other hand, this is my like weird cherry on top.
All right.
I gotta tell you, I don't like the music on this.
All right.
I don't like the art. I like
Good
the
start.
name. I like the name. But and
Good
I
start.
know that our original idea for this show was being stoked about stuff that's coming out. Okay.
Yep.
Here's the weirdness. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna play the original song that came out in 2020 on some album called Apocrypha, which I'm gonna go into my weird shit here, right? Apocrypha
go on.
is basically a name for any religious writing that isn't widespread accepted as the orthodox, like, true word, right? So there's a bunch of Christian apocrypha that's basically like books of the Bible that weren't accepted into the Bible, right? So that's the idea here, right?
Okay.
What I'm going to show you is the original song from Apocrypha 2020 album, and then they
All right.
have an album called Translations that's coming out this Friday, which I enjoy a lot more, and it is
Interesting.
radical remixes of Apocrypha.
Okay, you got my attention now.
Okay, here we go.
Let's go.
Here's
Also,
go ahead.
random little side note. I like how Apocrypha is like weird books of the Bible or like weird religious texts that didn't make it. And the rehashing and remixing and complete translation of Apocrypha is translations. Like, that's just a nice little...
I like the meta art of this band. I don't
Yes.
like the actual art. Like, their music videos, their music videos are basically like Tim Burton animations, and I'm not a big fan of that, you know.
Yeah.
But they also are very open, and this is going to lead to a different like discussion after we listen to this. But they're very open to reimaginings of their own thing, right?
All right. I like.
Here we go. This is Stormcrow.
Do it.
Oh, and the band name, Ascension of the Watchers. That's pretty sick,
I mean,
right?
that's a great name. That's a great fucking name.
Atmosphere. Yeah. Atmosphere.
Oh!
This is a 5-minute song, so I'm just gonna skip it.
Yep. That sounds 9 Inch Nails-y to me.
Yeah.
Not what I was expecting.
Okay, I was pretty sure there was some lyrics in this song, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like a 6-minute track actually, so I'm just gonna keep on going.
I mean, it's a
here.
bit of a vibe, honestly.
You get the gist, right?
Yeah.
What I'm about to show you is gonna blow your mind, but here we go.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, 9 Inch Nails-y, sort of mid 2000s, but released 2020.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is Transformed by Jace Lewis. This is the heavily remixed track that's coming out on this next album. Ascension of the Watchers, Stormcrow, Become a Warrior.
That's already a start.
Right? So it's still 5.5 minutes long,
Yeah.
right? It's got the same sort of vibe going on, but like...
This just makes it sound even more 9 Inch Nails-y.
Right.
Wow.
It's just...
So did they just get randos to like remix their songs?
From what I understand, that's exactly what's going on. But like my favorite part, hang on, and this you can actually hear the lyrics, right? I just skipped to the exact right part here. Hang on. And even then it's just like echo.
Yeah.
So my big appeal for this is not the music, it's not the art, it's not the band, it's the meta concept of completely changing 99% of what you originally did and still like signing off on it, right?
Right.
Because if there was like a techno remix of Metallica, they would not release that album under Metallica, I don't think. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like these guys are very clearly producers first, metal, like hard rock, whatever you want to call it, musicians second. And these guys are basically like, hey, I mean, this is a complete transformation of what we originally did. They don't even call it remixes. It's translations, transformations.
I do like that.
Yeah, it's cool. So yeah, it's a weird sort of case study and not necessarily something that I'm into, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This kind of relates into something kind of cool that I think you'll vibe with a lot more. That makes me think of it on the same front. So Powerwolf are dropping their new album soon.
Yes.
Can't wait to fucking talk about that on here. But there's a bonus CD along with Call of the Wild where it's like 12 old Powerwolf songs.
Yeah.
Except they bring in a guest metal vocalist to sing the song. So
that's
like
awesome.
Exactly. So there's like, and it's stacked too. There's like Matt Heafy, there's fucking Johan Hegg, they've got Alyssa White Glues, like, like the whole list of all the people, Johannes from Avatar, like there's so many badass people that are going to be on this.
So it's the same song, just re-recorded with completely different vocal styles.
If you want really quick, go, they did Demons Are a Girl's Best Friend with Alyssa White Glues. They just dropped it. So you can see.
With Alyssa.
Yeah. I think that, let's see. There you go. Yeah, click that one so you can hear.
Not precisely the same instrumentality, but close enough. Yeah,
it was on a similar vein, and it made me think of it how they brought these people in to kind of like redo the vocals their way, which is pretty sick.
It's interesting, but like I noticed a lot of bands doing this. It's like, and this was the bigger discussion that this was leading to, and we won't spend too much time on this. We've got a stacked ass show. I don't want to spend too much time. But just the idea of bands becoming more open to, for lack of a better term, adulteration of their stuff, right? Remixing, reimagining, extra features, re-recording, remastering. It seems like now is the time to do that. And I don't exactly know why. It might be spurred on from the pandemic, not being able to create new stuff in person. But it's just weird how this is happening a lot,
Yeah.
So
I think part of it is people like realizing how much it can be mutually beneficial. And also I think it's more people just being more open with like their songs and being up for that kind of like artistic recreations.
Yeah.
But because, even like famously, as an old school reference, like when Run DMC did the Walk This Way like mashup with the Aerosmith songs.
Yeah.
Aerosmith was a failing band at that point. No one gave a shit about them anymore. And like that Run DMC song brought them back to the spotlight and like completely revitalized their career. Like they might not have still been a household name like they are now if it wasn't for Run DMC.
Yeah.
So it just is an example of like bands being down for that.
Yeah. Cooperative.
Yep.
Cooperation is key, baby.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what's our next thing? That was the lamest segue that I could have done.
Good job. Meanwhile.
Thanks. Meanwhile, and the absence.
Yeah. So,
go for it.
The Absence. These guys are legends of the American melodic death metal scene. I think they were one of the early adopters. It started in Sweden. Foreshadowing to later on in this episode, but The Absence definitely, their first album was like 2004, From Your Grave. fucking classic of American metal, and I think that's a very underground and very underrated album. But so they're still around. Florida Boys are back. They brought us this awesome new album called Coffinized, came out on M Theory Records. This one, I believe it's their 6th album. I thought I wrote that down earlier, but this is just another fantastic melodic death metal album for people like me who are just all about this genre, and it's the total bread and butter. This gives you those just amazing, just like harmonized guitar riffs, very aggressive, just, gives you that brutality mixed with the melody. It just, it's up there. It's everything you need. This album is an absolute treat. I'm glad to have them back again. This is their first album in 3 years, and it's just awesome to have the Absence here.
Very nice. Coffinized. Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
Sick logo.
Oh, yeah. It's been the same one they've had since the get-go, and it is money.
I like how it's less and more.
Yeah. Swirly. What you got?
I think this is the first example of a complete mismatch between the music video and the music.
You thinking like Doom for this?
No. It's not genty enough for that. Come on now.
Not Doom, not BFG Doom.
Okay.
I'm talking about Doom metal.
Oh. It caught me again. No. Yeah, it was like I was trying to find some kind of link, and like I get the gist, but I think this is one of the first ones where I actively had to kind of like not pay attention to the video to get the musicality.
Really?
Instead of being pulled into it, you know? Yeah. I mean, even some of the animated stuff that we've had, I'm like, yeah. But like, I was actively like, okay, let me focus on this, and then let me go back to this, and let me focus on this. And it's not a slight. It's just, and that's probably actually intentional. But yeah, definite disconnect for me, at least personally.
Yeah.
Music wise, sick.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, let's see. Give you a quick pop quiz. What does this make you think of, band wise?
Band wise. Hang on. Makes me think of a lot of things, Kevin. Anger, hatred. No, what specifically does what is brought to mind for you?
It is, like I said, very evocative of the early Scandinavian melodic death metal.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was just curious if you could think of bands off the top of your head.
I mean, don't quiz me here, man.
We can move on.
No. I mean, specifically though, like I do want to do a thing. Who specifically should I look up? Because I kind of want to do like a side by side.
We'll get to that later.
Oh, look at you. Okay, you got this planned out, dude. All right. So yeah, absence, coffinized.
Yes.
This got my attention because of the weird aspect ratio, and that is it. It is.
I didn't even notice that.
I think it's not even like 4:3. It's not even like old TV. I'm pretty sure this is 1:1, so perfect square. It's very intentional.
Because I was like, I've all the times I've seen this music videos off my phone, and I never realized there being like a weird ratio to it. Now you got me wondering. Oh shit! Look at that. It is in a box. I didn't notice that.
Born of Osiris, baby. Born of Osiris.
Born of Osiris. Now, do you know who this is?
Oh yeah. I've listened to him at your place. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. These guys are one of the deathcore mainstays. They've been around from the early days. They were one of the first bands on Sumerian Records. Still are. Shout out to Ash. Awesome dude. And Born of Osiris, for me, I've been listening to them since their first EP, The New Rain. So like it makes me really happy that here 6 full albums later, they still have like really solid music that still encompasses the core sound that is Born of Osiris, while still kind of like evolving and expanding. Like one thing I'd say for sure, this album has everything you'd expect from a Born of Osiris album. It's really groovy. The guitars are like very technical, but not like, super over the top out there. Like I've always felt that Lee has done a really good job of writing technical pieces that are still very groovy and just like, get you moving kind of thing.
Right.
And you have like all the crazy cool synth parts. You have the trade-off of the vocals between Ronnie and Joe. Like it has everything that's the core of Born of Osiris. But I also feel like they've been kind of continuing their trend of bringing in a bit more like poppier influences. And it makes it very catchy while being still pretty heavy.
Nice.
And so that's one thing I really liked while listening to this album. The album is called Angel or Alien. And this song White Nile was like the first single they released off it. And from the get-go, I was just like, yes, mate, like this is going to be good.
Now, I was going to say, am I thinking of Born of Osiris for one of the bands that we went to go see at the Houdang or Texas Independence Fest, or am I thinking of Veil of Nath?
That was Veil of Nath.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so you and I have not seen Born of Osiris together, as far as I'm aware.
Don't think so.
Okay, yeah, just making sure. Because if this was a band that I was supposed to like personally recognize, I would hate that.
You're like, I know who they are, like what they look like.
Like I saw them 10 minutes ago. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
no, I was just trying to remember for sure. Cause I mean, like the big thing in the early days, especially in high school, I know me and some of the dudes like Frank, we used to always jam Bow Down, fucking Bow Down.
Yes, there we go.
Like that was the jam for Born of Osiris.
That's the connection. Yeah. So yes, I know them. It's just I had to connect the face with the name. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Here we go. White Nile.
The weird aspect ratio makes more sense with the video now that I know the weird aspect ratio is there.
I'm getting film school vibes.
Yep.
Yep.
You kind of see what I mean about like technical but groovy.
Right. Yeah. It's very headbangable, but it's also like all over the damn place. If you try to play it yourself, you're not gonna do it.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna do this for another like 20 seconds, and then I want to show you something very specific that
All right.
this is like bringing back for me. Okay. Down for it. I like this a lot.
One other thing to comment before we jump into the back, coming along with what I was saying earlier about the like kind of bringing in the like poppier side.
Yeah.
Go back to the video quickly.
Yep.
If you skip towards to like the last like 40 seconds, Lee McKinney has always had amazing lead guitar work.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's a badass guitarist, but I feel like on this song, some of his lead work has really gotten to the more like catchier side, less about like, you know, crazy sweeps and more like just, you know, like catchy stuff. And it makes me wonder if he's been hanging out with like Tim from Polyphia, because I got the vibes immediately. Just check out this little solo section.
Yeah, like Dragon Force jazzy is what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's cool, man. Yeah, I should listen to more of these guys, honestly. Video wise, right?
Yep.
This is why I went to college. Okay, so there is a short film. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. I might have to of the afternoon.
Oh, hey, dude, did you see that? The Brutal Review are live.
Oh, hey, wow. Look at that. Okay, so this is a short film by a person named Maya Deren, 1943. Imagine World War II is still going on, and somebody puts this together, right? Just single camera, maybe 2 actors. I don't know where she was at the time. Let me find the original here. It might be this. Let me see how long this is. Yeah, okay, yeah, the 14-minute one. I'm going to just skip,
also,
but notice the... Go ahead.
Sorry to everyone on audio only.
Yeah, right. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, notice the aspect ratio.
Yep.
Okay?
The box.
Yep. Very small. Second of all, it's going to move a lot slower than the video that we just watched, but notice all of the nonsense that is just kind of shown, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, hey, wow, phone, cool, awesome, stairs, you know? And then it just gets super damn weird. Like, hang on, it's her pulling a key out of her mouth, presenting it to this like a mirror monster thing, which I'm not too...
Yeah. This just makes me think of fucking Eraserhead. Like
it's yeah. I mean, keep in mind
this must be what inspired it.
43. Yeah,
exactly.
This like weird ghost thing that she's following, and then she eventually sees herself as like things go upside down. It's experimental, but it's also early. And if you watch this entire thing, you'll start to notice like Janelle Monáe had a music video that was almost exactly this. Born of Osiris has this video. You'll start to see it just like crop up everywhere because it's like weirdly influential, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I even wonder how much of that is like the band had the idea, or if like some dude that's like filming the music video is like,
right. Yeah. Hey, I saw this thing one time. Yeah. No, exactly. Okay, we're about halfway through. I'm gonna jump off real quick, take a quick break for probably like 20 seconds to a minute.
Alrighty.
Yeah, but I am so stoked for this next one.
Yes, boy.
Give me 30 seconds, all right?
Yep. Hope you guys have been enjoying the show so far. Obviously always let us know in the comments if you feel that there is anything that we have missed from this past couple weeks, or things that you were really jamming that you really liked. As a throwback too, we mentioned it last week, or on our last episode, so I didn't want to do a full call out on it, but that Fractal Universe album that Daniel introduced me to, that is the shit. Definitely jam that Fractal Universe one as well. That album goes really hard. It's all over the place. There's even that great death metal tech saxophone solo in the middle. So it was a absolute treat to listen to that. So check out The Impassable Horizon by Fractal Universe. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in and watching us. I see, there's not really a lot live right now, but, listening back after, hope y'all enjoyed. And we will keep this show rolling.
What are we talking about?
I was just doing some shout outs, and then I also mentioned the Fractal Universe that we talked about last week. I went back and listened to the whole album.
Oh,
as it dropped. Really fucking good album.
Yeah, dude.
So that one that's a dope.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Now, speaking of dope, Nano War of Steel, I've only ever heard their bullshit, right?
Yeah. So
but
welcome.
I saw your talking points. So
welcome to more bullshit. Nano War of Steel. Yeah, our most favorite parody metal band. These guys are an Italian parody band. You have hopefully maybe seen like a couple of their videos go around. They had a Valhalla, a tribute to IKEA, which is amazing, where there's a bunch of lyrics where they just sing praise of IKEA furniture.
But like it's a Christmas hymn almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's obviously Uranus. I mean, the joke's already written there.
Right.
There was She Turned Out to Be a Gargoyle, which is one of the most ridiculous ballad songs ever.
My personal favorite is Norwegian reggaeton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's written as if it's a just cumbia anthem or whatever, but it's referencing Varg Vikernes and all of this other bullshit. Yep. So yeah.
So they're just fantastic. And this album actually took me by surprise for a couple reasons. And part of it makes me wonder, because for those who don't follow the band, back in like January, February of this year, they put out this big Facebook post saying that they had left the metal genre and that they were now going to be a pop band because metal just wasn't lucrative enough, and they wanted to progress into different music. And they even went as far as to like release pop music videos and really were just like selling that they were going to be a pop band. And me knowing who this fucking band is, I was like, this is all just a joke. I'm just waiting for when, the metal translation happens. And, big shout out to them. They kept that joke up for like 2 months and went really hard with multiple videos, a bunch of streams. Like they really sold it before, of course, releasing that they were coming out with Italian folk metal.
Oh, yeah.
Part of that, I wonder, did they do that joke so hard because how heavy this album is to really like sell it extra hard, or what the deal is? So I've actually fell in love with this album for a different reason than I thought I was going to. Originally, I was like, oh, it's not a War of Steel. It's going to be really funny.
Yeah.
Well, joke's on us. The whole fucking album is in Italian, so English-speaking plebs like us don't get to hear all the jokes.
I mean, who are you talking to, okay? We listen to Corplicani like it's no big deal, okay? But the thing that I appreciated was they were still signed to Napalm, and like Napalm wasn't on the joke, right? So it was I mean, they're now a pop band, and they're our only pop band on our roster. Sorry about it, right?
But, I mean, again, forever a big shout out to Napalm Records, our absolute favorite record company. Please fucking sponsor us. We love you guys. That just goes to show how awesome they are that they were like down to go in on this joke.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so this don't get to understand all the jokes because I need to throw all their lyrics through like Google Translate to understand, how funny this one is.
Right.
But the music is amazing. Okay. On this, like they leaned hard into the folk metal thing.
Okay.
Heavy tracks, lots of sick like traditional folk metal. Like this would belong along with some of the other bands we jam. Granted, this album goes all over the place a bit too. There's some stuff that's just really ridiculous and out there, but there are also some absolute rippers on this album, and I found myself loving this album even without knowing the lyrics, despite the fact that they're a parody band.
Nice. Okay.
All right. Shout out. They got some Italian legends in, like Luca Turilli, and on this song, Francesco Paoli.
Hang on. I know this.
No. You got it.
I know this name. I know this name.
Flesh God Apocalypse, motherfucker.
Of course. My God.
No.
Here we go.
This is gonna blow your mind.
It's better than it should be.
Right? Fucking right. Like, as soon as I heard it was all Italian, I was like, oh, but I'm gonna listen to it anyways.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I love this band, unironically.
Yep.
It's so good. So
hell
good.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. Italian folk metal, dude. All right, this is my new thing. I'm just gonna. I have no I have no Italian heritage, but I'm just gonna kind of like absorb it through this album.
It's gonna be everything. And next time I see you, you're just gonna be like, oh, ba ba beep.
How am I supposed to talk without my hands?
Yeah.
Dude, nice. Thank you for that. Next up,
No problem.
At the Gates. I know these guys. I don't think that I do.
You should.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you 3 words, and let's see if this brings you back to the high school days. Blinded by fear.
Not ringing a bell.
So, At the Gates is one of the pioneers of melodic death metal. They are very much probably one of the most influential bands that's been in metal in the past like 40 years. Their style, they really helped launch that melodic death metal style that, you know, is like my absolute favorite. Okay. And so these guys dropped Slaughter of the Soul on the world in 1996, which every American band in the early 2000s ripped off like crazy. Right. It's what started not only the American bands like the Absence that were just playing melodic death metal, but the metalcore scene as a whole, like really stole At the Gates riffs in the early days and turned it into a new thing. Like a lot of the early like Unearth and like Trivium and like As I Lay Dying and stuff like that. It was just At the Gates with breakdowns. Gotcha. So like these guys were massive. You know, one of the biggest, most influential bands you've never heard of.
Okay. I like it.
So,
but they're back.
They're back with their 9th album, I want to say. Okay. Or wait, I'm probably wrong on that. 7th album. This album is very interesting because it keeps their like aggressive melodic death metal style that they're known for, while also bringing in a lot of new like proggier elements. Okay. And so I thought that was really cool because like they weren't a band for a long time. They broke up in the 90s and came back in like the late 2000s, dropped their first new album in like 2012 since Slaughter of the Soul had been 20 years almost since a new album from them. Yeah. And so that one was just straightforward melodic death metal, like, you know, let's fucking go. Right. But they're starting to bring in more like proggy influences, and it's really cool to hear them like keep the core sound that is something they pretty much helped invent. Yeah. While bringing in new elements to it.
Intriguing. I noticed that we have 2 tracks here.
Yeah. I wanted to do 2 tracks because it's not like all the time where it's like melodic prog. Like it kind of like shifts around a lot as you're going through the album and keeps it to kind of be a pretty unique listening experience. Yeah. So I wanted to do 2 tracks to kind of like highlight how it's got both their more old school style and their like, you know, newer influences that they're bringing in with the album.
Gotcha. And it's also cool that after 7 albums, you can also have that sort of melding with other things. Like, you know, right. you think you'd be stuck in your ways by that point, but it's cool to just see a band that has influenced other people being also influenced by other people, right? Yeah. So let's check them out. This is The Paradox by At the Gates. Yeah. Well, maybe.
There you go.
That was just quiet. Okay. Mm-hmm. We hide within our crypts.
Big shout out to Thomas Lindberg. His vocals just get more and more filthy and disgusting.
I see what you mean. It's very driving, very like, you know, we're going somewhere at the same speed, right?
Yep.
You know, it's cool. That said, this is The Nightmare of Being by At the Gates, and you say this is the more proggy track, yes?
Exactly.
All right, here we go. I can tell they're the same band, but only from vocals.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not radically different, but at the same time, it's impressive that they did make that kind of split within the same album, right? Which do you prefer personally?
I will always lean towards the heavier side because that's, you know, what I've known At the Gates always from. Like, you know, like Slaughter of the Soul is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Right.
So that's, you know, the At the Gates I still love at the core, but it's still cool to hear them kind of like experiment with some new styles and bring that in.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Let me ask you this. If this was a different band, would you like this?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because I still enjoy the album as a whole. And this is, you know, some pretty cool stuff on its own right.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just interesting. Like, okay, let's completely change sort of genres here. And I think this is just a funny comparison. But imagine Kiss coming out with like a jazz song. You know what I mean? Or, you know, something like that. It's like, I like this, but not necessarily from these guys, right? So, interesting. Yeah. But either way, cool experiment. It's cool to see them like spreading their musical wings.
Exactly. So, So that is The Nightmare of Being out on Century Media. Check it out because At the Gates are legends. And just because I know you know this, go to that search bar, type in Blinded by Fear.
I did want to comment on that video effect of dropping the rocks on the dudes.
Because
that was practical. That was like they just dumped some dirt on this band.
Just like, ugh, get it. Let's see if this triggers a core memory.
I feel like I'm connecting to the internet in the 90s.
We are blind to the worlds within us, waiting to
Nothing yet. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yep.
Of course.
That is fucking At the Gates.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right.
Used to play that on Rock Band all the time.
We did
Shout
it.
out.
We did it. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, that was one of those things where I knew music without knowing the name of something.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you want to know something funny just to make my point of what I said earlier?
Go for it.
So this album came out in 96. Hit play for just a little bit longer. Here you go. Cut it. Type in a gunshot to the head of trepidation. There you go. Play that. Love this song, love this band, but listen to this fucking riff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, that was early metalcore. It was just at the gates with breakdowns.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that I can tell is 90s from this is the album cover, and specifically Slaughter of the Soul being written in papyrus.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Dude. All right, sick. Thank you for reintroducing this very standard thing that I should know to me.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a thing that happens a lot on the show of like, I know things, it's just I don't know that I know them.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
cool to be like officially reintroduced.
Yeah,
you know?
where you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of the you know, my role, right, as the expert.
The gist, you know.
Yeah.
I'm presenting you with weird techno remixes of bands
Yeah.
you've never heard.
Exactly, boy. Exactly.
So
All right.
this is our last track of the day. It's been kind of a long show, but that's because it is full and stacked and accordioned in. That said, would you call this your album of the week?
So no, because so album of the week I would give to Nightmare of Being at the Gates, because they're you know, absolutely legendary.
Nice.
And just big shout out. Always great to hear them. This is an upcoming release. This was just dropped today. Shout out to Death Heaven, one of my absolute favorite bands.
Premiered 9 hours ago. We're fresh.
Yep. They just dropped a new single for their upcoming album, Infinite Granite, and this song is The Gnashing. This is really interesting, and this is going to be a little bit of a rant again, which just because I love this band. Death Heaven, for those who don't know, they've always been known as a like band that combines black metal and shoegaze, which is like one of the weirdest like mishmatches you'll get, but it works really damn well. And they've always been a very heavy band, like, you know, like always black metal screams, blast beats, tremolo, stuff like that. But with each album, they're a band that's always evolved and kind of been like slowly bringing in more and more, you know, like influences. And with their last album, Ordinary Corrupt Human Love, my favorite release by them yet, they had a lot more of the kind of like chill shoegazy parts that they really brought in.
Interesting.
And with these first two songs, it is almost exclusively that. And it's been really interesting, like especially this one, all clean vocals. The first song was almost all clean vocals as well, which is a total departure for Death Heaven.
Right.
There's been like a little bit of singing normally, but it's always almost all screams. And both these songs don't really get heavy. They have like they're mostly the like shoegazy side.
Interesting.
I was personally vibing really hard with it, and maybe it's because I love Ordinary Corrupt Human Love as much as I do. But I actually saw an interview with George Clark, the vocalist, and he actually said it was a very natural progression, because they found, like, you know, with Ordinary, they brought in a lot of that influence, and it just kind of stuck around with them. When they were starting to write for Infinite Granite, they just kept writing these like more indie shoegazy riffs, and they never found themselves gravitating towards the heavy parts.
Right.
And he said for them to do that, it would have felt really forced and ham-fisted to like actually put that heavy stuff in there.
Right.
And so it really is just like they naturally kind of evolved to doing this. And what I love too is that George actually had to completely change his vocal style to fit that.
Yeah.
And he actually took a lot of lessons and practiced clean singing so that he could have a much better performance on this. And he said it's felt like learning a whole new instrument. So I really like how that's kind of like playing into it too, where he really like evolved himself to fit this new style.
That's very interesting. That's never a combination that I figured would happen as shoegaze plus, you know.
And continue.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's great is that even though it's like this evolution, it still sounds very Death Heaven, because they've had these kind of parts in their songs before. And so hearing this, I'm always still immediately like, oh yeah, this is Death Heaven, but it just never gets to the like blast beat parts like they normally would have in their music. So it's a really interesting departure.
Right. So just to confirm my bias, I just now looked up top shoegaze bands, like examples of the classic shoegaze. M83, Cocktail Twins, Jesus and Mary Chain, all of that sort of stuff. And like looking at that list and then expecting to hear what I'm going to hear right now. I don't know if I can make that like musical connection, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. So I'm excited for this.
Maybe with this one more so, yes. Older Death Heaven, you might have a bit of a problem. Like if we threw on Sunbather, it might trip you out a little more. But
okay,
but smash this because this is actually very good.
All right, here we go. Okay, that's really interesting. That's like, all right, here we go. I don't necessarily attribute shoegaze to this. I know that that's the official sort of like, oh, we're this and this, like from the band and the label and that sort of stuff. To me, this sounds like an obscure like Smiths hit with just like cranked up distortion.
That's actually a comparison I've been hearing too, especially with Great Massive Color, the first song.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are saying, like Smith's Joy Division, but heavier.
Yeah. This sounds like I'm at a sad 80s night. Yeah, no, it's cool though. I mean, I like that sort of fusion, that sort of combination of two different things that shouldn't go together but do, you know? That's cool.
Yep. Yeah, so this is coming out August 20th. On Sargent House Records, and again it's called Infinite Granite, and it's so good, and I love Death Heaven so much. It's the first record vinyl I've pre-ordered in like 6 months because it was just like, yeah, I need this.
Okay.
So I'm stoked. But yeah, and I know we've gone long today, but just to show my final point on this closing, look up Death Heaven Honeycomb. This was off Ordinary Corrupt Human Love, and this will show you how it's kind of like it's still the same sound.
Right.
But obviously heavier.
Yeah, musicality still very like long form 80s pop, right? But vocally completely different. Yeah, they've changed. They've definitely changed. That's crazy.
Yeah, because if you go back to like 2 minutes in this song, and you'll even hear what I was talking about on like the metal-y side.
So it's interesting that you brought this up as an example, and I skipped to the exact moment that was similar, you know, but the rest of this like 12-minute track is, I'm assuming different, right? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, this one's all over the place. It starts off kind of slow. It builds into the super blast beaty moment. It goes into that more chill spot. It even goes down into like a clean acoustic-y soft part. Like this 12-minute track is one of my favorite pieces of music, period. Like it is so fucking good.
Really?
But
like
yeah,
of all
like
time?
I said, yeah.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
a really, really, really good song.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
12
So like I
minutes.
said, it's interesting, and at least in my opinion, even with their like heavy moments, I can still hear the Deaf Heaven in the new stuff.
Right.
It
That's cool,
definitely
man.
still sounds like them.
This is a cool sort of fusion that I never would have expected to happen.
Mhm.
But I do have to end with this one point that's in the comments. I know that this is, very highly regarded piece of music for you.
Yeah.
But this is the heaviest ad for Levi's that I've ever seen.
With the music video, yes.
Very good.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Sick lineup. Last 2
Indeed.
weeks have been stacked. We've got some more stuff coming out. I know tomorrow Powerwolf's new album comes out, right? Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that's tomorrow.
I believe so, actually, which I am very, very excited for.
Call of the Wild, out summer 2021. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. I could be wrong.
Yeah, which I am very
July
very
9th.
happy for.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. The new single Dancing with the Dead is really good, so I am very excited to hear the rest of that album.
Yes, mate. I'm excited as well. I'm going to be jamming some of this, especially
Yes.
Born of Osiris. I can't believe that that's the thing that I knew, but I have rediscovered. That's crazy.
Enjoy, bro.
Thank you,
Some
man.
good stuff.
And if you're looking for techno remixes of weird mid-2000s rock, I got you covered.
Always go. You always know Dan Bro's gonna bring the heat of the weird shit.
The weirdness, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it may be good, it may be bad, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be, like, expected,
yes.
right? Dude, good
Hell
show.
yeah.
Always
Very
down
good.
for it. I need to
Yep.
get out of here and pack for this ridiculous
Yes.
trip. And
Sorry I held you over so long.
no,
My
don't
bad.
worry
I didn't
about
mean
it.
to make it such a long episode. It
No,
just
no,
kind of
no,
happened.
no. Listen, I like recording. I just wish that we could do it in a time frame where I'm not also about to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Good luck, bud.
Thanks,
Hope
man.
all that goes crazy.
Whenever
Good
whenever
luck.
I'm back in the state, I'll hit you up. We'll figure out our next show, and we
Sounds like a
definitely
plan.
okay. So I don't know how many episodes we've done so far, but I think for episode number 20, if we haven't already hit it, we should definitely just like do it in person because
I like that. Let's
The-
get in the same room and just
Yeah.
fucking let's go.
or hell, like even meet up in the middle of nowhere and just record
Yeah.
on the truck bed.
I like it. We're doing it guerrilla style.
live. Yes, sir.
Live. Exactly.
All right, dude. I'm gonna shut down this stream.
Sounds
Everybody,
good. Thank you everyone for watching.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate you all always.
Always talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, we are cut.
Excellent.
Dude.
Sorry I ran